Good evening and welcome to Icu Tv main news. Let's take a look at the top stories making headlines. President Hichilema declares 7-day national mourning for the late President Edgar Lungu. Remains of former President Lungu to arrive on Wednesday. Couple detained over death of 6-month-old baby in Kalingalinga. In international news, China deploys AI-generated satire to counter US tariff policies. In sports news, coach Nyirenda urges Zambia to bounce back after COSAFA Cup loss. Presenting the news, I am Yamba Margaret, and now the news in details. President Hichilema has declared a 7-day national mourning period from Sunday 18th June to Saturday 14th June 2025 in honor of the late former President Edgar Lungu, who passed away in South Africa on June 5th, 2025. Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, announced that the government has accorded President Lungu a state funeral and is working closely with his family and stakeholders. Funeral gathering will be held at Belvedere Lodge in Kablonga, Lusaka. During the mourning period, the public is urged to observe the period by postponing or cancelling entertainment activities from 6 hours to 18 hours daily, and flags will fly at half-mast. Further funeral details will be shared in due course. Remains of former President Lungu to arrive on Wednesday. The remains of the Zambia 6th Republican President Edgar Lungu are expected to arrive in the country on Wednesday, 11th June 2025. Family spokesperson Makebi Zulu confirmed the development, stating that the late president should be mourned with dignity. Mr. Zulu says the family had recognized that President Lungu was repeatedly ill-treated by the state, including being denied access to medical care since 2022. He reveals that the former head of state had an underlying medical condition and had been seeking specialized treatment in South Africa since 2015. Mr. Zulu adds that the family rejected government's push to repatriate the body earlier and instead accepted a request from the Zambian community in South Africa to hold a church service on Tuesday, 10th June 2025.
Fellow countrymen and women, this is an address on behalf of the family of President Edgar Lungu, the 6th Republican President of the Republic of Zambia. Between yesterday and today, we have had occasion to meet the government of the Republic of Zambia, represented by Honorable Lungu. In our meetings, they requested to hear what the position of the family was as regards how the mortal remains of our former president will be dealt with. In dealing with this subject matter, a position was presented to the government of the Republic of Zambia. The position being that the family wished to respect the wishes of the former president of the Republic of Zambia. And the respect that has been accorded to him, as he wished could be accorded to him, was that he be buried in Zambia. And in being buried in Zambia, he took cognizance of the fact that he served the country faithfully and diligently, putting aside personal ones and putting the country back on a trajectory of development. Hence, the massive infrastructure development that he oversaw being undertaken in the country. And as such, he would not take away the reason, or rather the obligation of every Zambian, or the desire of every Zambian, to mourn him with dignity. And as such, President Edgar Lungu deserves the honors of being buried with the dignity that will be accorded to him by the Zambians. Through all this, he was cognizant to the fact that the government, under the watch of President Hichilema, did not treat him as it ought to have. Sometime in 2022, he requested to travel for medicals in South Africa. The state rejected that request. That request was re-emphasized in 2023. The state responded by stating that it had no resources. In his response to the state, he stated that he would use his own resources. The state responded in a letter dated the 7th of September 2023, stating that his request was denied. Notwithstanding that the said travel was not for leisure or business, but for his health to be attended to. It should be known that at any given time, the state was aware of the ailment of President Edgar Lungu. Having served in State House and thereafter being former president, they knew what his condition was. Despite all that knowledge that they had, they still refused to allow him to travel. Fellow countrymen and women, you will note that at the time these entitlements were being denied him, he hadn't returned to active politics. He was still receiving other entitlements such as a pay that is due to a former head of state. But as regards his health and his movement, those were heavily restricted by the state. In 2025, when the ailment exceeded and doctors traveled into Zambia, checked on him and advised that he should come to South Africa, that time he had seized, or government had withdrawn all his privileges, and he traveled as an ordinary citizen. And he only booked a last-minute ticket whilst at the airport for purposes of not allowing the state to have enough time to connive and stop him. He arrived at the airport 30 minutes before boarding and eventually boarded. Those that dared to give him courtesies at the airport have since been fired. In our meeting with the state today, we made it open and clear.
Couple detained over death of 6-month-old baby in Kalingalinga. A couple has been detained by Lusaka police following the sudden death of their 6-month-old infant in Lusaka's Kalingalinga compound. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga states that the incident was reported on Friday, June 6, 2025 by the child's father, Musonda Chipanga. Mr. Hamonga explains that preliminary investigations revealed that the child may have suffocated while sleeping between her parents. He adds that both parents have since been placed in lawful custody as investigations continue, and the post-mortem will be conducted to determine the exact cause of the death. Mr. Hamonga further urges the public to remain calm as police conduct a thorough inquiry into the matter.
The Zambia Police Service wishes to confirm the apprehension and detention of a couple in connection with a case of sudden death involving a 6-month-old female infant. which was reported on the Friday, 6th June 2025 at approximately 07:21 hours at Kalingalinga police post. The report was initially made by Musonda Chipanga, age 32 old, a mayor of a non-house number in Kalingalinga compound, who indicated that his daughter, identified as Josephine Chipanga, age 6 months, was discovered dead in bed around 06 hours. Facts gathered include that on the night of 5th June 2025, the mother to the deceased, Natasha Mwika, age 22, went to bed around 22 hours with her twins. She laid on a mattress on the floor with the children on either side. During the night, she placed the deceased infant on her breast for breastfeeding and unintentionally fell asleep. Upon waking up following morning, she discovered her husband's arm resting on the infant's face and the baby was unresponsive. She was already in a state of rigor mortis. The child was immediately rushed to Kalingalinga clinic by the father, where she was unfortunately pronounced dead upon arrival. A physical inspection of the child revealed no physical signs of injury, and the body was deposited at the investigating hospital mortuary pending a postmortem examination to determine the actual cause of death. Following preliminary investigations and in line with procedure, both parents, Musonda Chipango and Natasha Mwika, have been detained in lawful custody as investigations continue. An inquiry file has been officially opened. The Zambia Police Service reiterates its commitment to ensuring thorough investigations are conducted in all cases involving the death of minors. We urge the public to remain calm and allow investigative processes to take their full course. Thank you.
You are still watching Icu TV main news. We now take our first set of commercials. We'll be right back with more news.
Welcome to the Zambia Research and Development Center, an institution dedicated to national development through capacity building and community development. Established in 2007 by a group of professionals and lecturers, ZRDC has since become a hub of research and innovation in the country. Registered with the Ministry of Home Affairs under the Registrar of Societies, ZRDC pursues cutting-edge research to address pressing social and economic challenges. Get involved. ZRDC engages in activities that stimulate international collaboration, promote knowledge sharing, and make research expertise available to decision makers. Our mission at ZRDC is to foster innovation and capacity building for national development. We believe in addressing poverty and underdevelopment through institutional and capacity building, human empowerment, and gender participation. In our quest to foster innovation and capacity building for national development, ZRDC launched the ZRDC University Sponsorship for Capacity Building and Development Program to facilitate knowledge advancement among ZRDC researchers and those intending to join the research community. Qualified Zambian citizens can pursue education at credible universities in Zambia with guaranteed prospects of joining the ZRDC research community. ZRDC engages in industrial and technological research, covering research development and innovative investigations to drive dynamic industrial development at national and regional levels. Join us at the Zambia Research and Development Center as we continue to innovate, empower, and shape a brighter future for Zambia. ZRDC, fostering innovation and capacity building for national development.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. In our local stories, Zambia launches ambitious STI policy to drive innovation-led growth. The Ministry of Technology and Science has officially launched the 2025 Science, Technology and Innovation STI policy, marking a significant step in Zambia's pursuit of inclusive and sustainable development through technological advancement. Speaking at the launch, Minister of Technology and Science Honorable Felix Chipotamtati emphasized that the policy serves as a transformative roadmap designed to hasten the power of technology, science, and innovation. He highlighted the government's commitment to leveraging this sector to enhance productivity, citing examples such as improving livestock genetics for increased beef exports and utilizing scientific research to boost maize production. Minister Mtati underscored the critical timing of the policy, noting that the global economy is increasingly shaped by technological changes, including artificial intelligence, robotics, biotechnology, and green energy. He stated that the future belongs to nations that innovate, adapt, and transform, and that Zambia is poised to take its place in the global economy by embracing these advancements. By implementing the STI policy, Zambia aims to build resilient health system, enhance agriculture productivity, and drive economic growth through innovation. The policy reflects the government's recognition of science and technology as essential components of national development and its commitment to investing in these areas for the benefit of all Zambians. Surgery positioned as cornerstone of health equity. Copperbelt Permanent Secretary Lawrence Mwanza has underscored the critical role of surgical services in achieving universal health coverage and health equity. Officiating the 32nd Annual Scientific Conference of the Surgical Society of Zambia, Mr. Mwanza stressed that surgery is not luxury, but an essential pillar of primary health care. Held under the theme Building Resilience Health System, the role of surgical care in achieving global health equity, the conference brought together medical professionals to discuss strengthening surgical care and anesthesia. Mr. Mwanza said no health system is complete without accessible, reliable surgical services and reaffirmed government support through the Ministry of Health to improve surgical infrastructure and capacity across the country. Zambia Police Health provider complete VMMC training to strengthen HIV prevention. 15 healthcare providers from the Zambia Police Hospital and various police clinics have completed specialized training in voluntary medical male circumcision, VMMC. The program aims to equip them with the clinical skills, infection prevention protocols, and patient counseling techniques necessary for the safe and effective delivery of VMMC services. This initiative aligns with the Ministry of Health strategy to integrate VMMC into routine healthcare services, recognizing its role in reducing the risk of heterosexual HIV transmission by up to 60%. By enhancing the capacity of police health facilities, the training contributes to broader efforts to expand access to prevent health services and combat HIV in Zambia. You are still watching ICU TV main news. We take a short break, and coming up next is international and sports news. Stay tuned.
The Information and Communications University is driving the thrill for the nation in research and development. Enroll now for full-time and distance programs in the School of Engineering, Humanities, Business and Education. To apply, visit our website at www.icuzambia.net or call us on +260 211 221 662 or 0966 342 359. Sponsorship is available. Enroll now.
Welcome back. In international news, China deploys AI-generated satire to counter U.S. tariff policies. In response to President Trump's escalating tariffs, Chinese state media have released AI-generated videos mocking U.S. trade policies and leadership. One such video by CGTN features a robot named Tariff that self-destructs rather than enforce high tariffs, symbolizing the pervasive self-damaging nature of the U.S. trade measures. Another clip portrays American workers in bleak factory setting, satiring the push to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. These videos, widely circulated on platforms like TikTok and X, are part of China's broader strategy to use artificial intelligence in crafting persuasive propaganda, aiming to highlight Chinese economic resilience and critique U.S. policies.
This is the most prescribed antibiotic in the United States, and China controls 80% of the raw materials needed to make them. This is amoxicillin. It's used to treat everything from strep throat to chest infections and sinus infections. And now, with U.S. President Donald Trump threatening tariffs on medicines, that puts this and a variety of other drugs on notice.
There's going to be a tariff wall put up.
Blood thinners like heparin, blood pressure medications, pain relievers like ibuprofen, all are medications that medical experts say can be often traced to China. And that's a major vulnerability as the White House threatens tariffs in order to move more drug manufacturing back to America.
It's also super expensive and costly to try to reshape this very well-established global supply chain. So it may take 5 to 10 years and a very high cost to manufacture those generic drugs in the US.
We're still in international news. Gaza death toll surpasses 54,770 amid ongoing Israel offensive. The death toll in Gaza has risen to 54,772, with 125,834 people injured since the conflict began on October 7, 2023, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Recent Israel airstrikes, including those targeting aid distribution points and residential areas, have intensified the humanitarian crisis in the region. The situation remains dire, with ongoing military operations exacerbating the challenges faced by civilians in the besieged enclave. International organizations continue to call for immediate measures to protect civilians and ensure the delivery of humanitarian aid. We take a short break and stay tuned for more news in sports.
Did you know that mental health conditions are treatable and recovery is possible? Hi, I'm Ngenia Moyo. I'm your host on Let's Talk Mental Health. I invite you all to this show where you freely express yourself, and together we find a solution. For more details, you can contact 0777 93 73 92, and we'll be there to help you find solutions to whatever you're going through.
Welcome back. And in sports news, Coach Nyirenda urges Zambia to bounce back after COSAFA Cup loss. Coach Wedson Nyirenda has reflected on Zambia's 1-0 loss to Comoros in their COSAFA Cup Group D opener. He emphasized the need to recover quickly in the next match against Botswana on June 11th at 15 hours to keep semi-final hopes alive. The team faces pressure to perform well to advance in the tournament. And that sports item brings us to the end of our main news. But before we go, a quick recap on the stories that made headlines. President Hichilema declares 7-day national mourning for the late President Edgar Lungu. Remains of former President Lungu to arrive on Wednesday. Couple detained over death of 6-month-old baby in Kalingalinga. In international news, China deploys AI-generated satire to counter U.S. tariff policies. In sports news, Coach Nyirenda urges Zambia to bounce back after COSAFA Cup loss. And thank you so much for watching. For more news updates, stay glued to our Facebook page at Icu Tv and our website at icutvzm.com. Good night.